Pikmin, the cornerstone of any nutritious Nintendo breakfast. Whatever that means. Pikmin ROM hacks are few and far between. Thankfully, that's still more than zero. Welcome to episode 7 of the marathon, where I finally get to talk about Pikmin. Now, all of you know that I love the Pikmin series, especially the second one. This game actually reminds me a lot of Christmas, not just because the first world is a winter level, but I also got the game on Christmas way back when I was a lad, probably around 1852. Ever since then, the game has always made me think of Christmas, so now is as good a time as any to talk about a ROM hack of Pikmin 2. Now, Pikmin 2 ROM hacks have been a thing for a little bit. They are still not very plentiful, as I mentioned, so I will take every ROM hack I can get. And I've seen some excellent stuff already, like Colossal Caverns and Pikmin 251. I've already seen the huge potential of Pikmin hacks, so I get really hyped whenever one of these pops up, and today, we got a new one. Pikmin 2 New Year. Really, it's the perfect game for this marathon, because not only does it make me think of Christmas, but we are also on the brink of a new year. Let's think about what's going on in 2023. We got the new Zelda coming out, we got the new Mario movie coming out, and Pikmin 4. I still can't believe this game actually exists. I'm pretty excited for the new year. A lot of stuff we thought we were getting this year unfortunately got pushed back to 2023, so it's gonna be the year that 2022 should have been, and Pikmin 4 is possibly the most exciting thing in store so far. Well, to tell you the truth, I'm also pretty psyched about Hazmat Hotel, but I mean, it doesn't have Pikmin. Does it now? Pikmin 2 New Year is a game that caught me by surprise. It was recommended to me a couple of times this year, but I was hesitant to play it for a while because I thought it was just a retexture of Pikmin 2. Like I said 70 billion years ago, I don't usually tackle retextures or anything like that because I just don't find it super interesting. I can appreciate the effort that went into it, but typically I am driven entirely by gameplay. And right off the bat, yeah, retexturing is a big part of this hack, but there's also way more to it than that. The gimmick of this hack is that it takes place on the opposite hemisphere of PNF 404, meaning every single level has the opposite weather system going on. Where it was winter, it's now summer, and vice versa. The story and dialogue seems to be largely unchanged as far as I can tell. The opening cutscene is identical, the story beats and tutorials are identical, but they did actually make a new title screen demo. This was a really nice touch, especially the Pikmin 2 logo, which is in front of the text for some reason. Fundamentally, the game is Pikmin 2, except everything's just a little bit different. All the enemies are recolored to make them look more exotic and borderline tropical. Every enemy looks like it can spit poison at you. If you beat Pikmin 2, you will recognize a lot of the dungeons and structures and challenges in this game, except they all have been heavily rearranged. There is more than enough here that you can look at the game and say it's something new. I think the best way I can describe this game is by calling it the Master Quest version of Pikmin 2. Not just because it's different, but it is noticeably harder than the original game as well. The game brings out the tougher, more explosive enemies way earlier into the game than in the base game. Game. I wrote the word game way too many times. And it is surprisingly challenging at times, where I wasn't expecting it to be. Take the beady Longlegs for instance. Usually I beat this guy in like 5 seconds and lose maybe 3 Pikmin if I'm being reckless. This time he just kicked my head off into the stratosphere. The treasure placements have also been heavily rearranged. Even in the caves that are familiar, the placement is far different, not to mention the presentation. The seasonal graphics aren't just surface level, literally. They go deeper than that. Literally. Even though changing seasons might sound a little trivial, this hack actually commits to it very heavily. I'm honestly quite impressed by just how far it goes to sell this very different atmosphere. But it's not just redesigned versions of existing levels, there are entirely new areas as well. One of my favorite is this sub-level with all these big arcade machines. One of them has a little egg sitting on top. Come on, don't do that, you're gonna jam up the buttons. There's all these grid-like patterns on the ground, there's this 8-bit dimension with all these pixelated gray blocks in the background, which makes me think of Legend of Doom. The little paintings of a Lego model on the wall, the game will even take you to the Windows 98 dimension. Now that's a very good year. You got this tiled dance floor with what I think is Persona music playing in the background. There are levels and structures that look nothing like the original game, and it's really cool to see, and I wish that more of the game was entirely original levels, but on the flip side, everything is rearranged enough to make it feel like a new experience. Aside from new maps and rearranged dungeons, there are also a number of gameplay flourishes as well. One of the more cumbersome parts of the original Pikmin 2 was the candy pop buds. Purple Pikmin and white Pikmin could not be generated the same way as the red, yellow, and blue boys could. You had to hunt down these stupid flowers inside of a dungeon and change some of your basic Pick boys into purple or white Pikmin, except you can only do 5 times per flower, so you had to keep re-entering the cave a billion times. New Year cuts down on this tedium by allowing the flower to transform 10 Pikmin instead. Not to mention they also upgraded the spotted flowers, so now you can get 9 white or purple Pikmin at once. There are also way more enemies and pellets on the surface, so you can hoard the basic Pikmin way faster. It's a double-edged sword because it's way more dangerous, but the rewards are much greater. I think for me though, my favorite part of this game was definitely the challenge mode. There are a ton of new maps to check out here as well. Now of course, not every single one of these maps is a winner. But it's very impressive just how many winners there are. And that's what this game is, a winner. I always love the Pikmin soundtrack. It's very atmospheric and kind of in the background. New Year has a new soundtrack comprised of remixed songs from other games, which at the best of times achieves the same effect, while also sounding really good in their own right. Even though some of the songs are a tiny bit too loud, it all sounds really great, and I usually recognize them immediately. I think one of my favorite remixes is the Game & Watch song from Smash. Pikmin 2 New Year is very familiar to the foundation laid by Pikmin 2, but there is more than enough rearrangement and new content that you can call it a new video game. I mean, it's right there in the title. New. It might have been nice to see new treasures in the game, but there is still more than enough to make it worth playing if you're a big fan of Pikmin 2. So I'm giving this one the Christmas seal of approval, and to those responsible for making the game, I will be delivering a cool snowball directly to your house. Keep it in the freezer, cause it'll melt. Ho ho ho! Thank you very much for watching today's video, and don't forget to tune in to tomorrow's video. Can you guess what it is? I won't give it away, but let's just say it's not quite finished, but it should be by the end of 1996, ho ho!